Hey, this is Danny. Just going to do a quick video on study space in response to Chandler's really good and fair video on the issue in regards to all the platforms. So just going to address a few things that he brought up in the clip that he sent me, and hopefully it helps. So in Chandler's second video, my part didn't make the cut, unfortunately. It was an honest mistake. So Chandler's nice enough to send me what he had to say, the lost clip he sent me. So I hope to address some of the issues in this video that he brought up, because there were some really great points, some really fair criticisms in his video. So I hope it's okay that I'm answering them this way. Here we go. Let's do it. Okay, so the first issue brought up by Chandler was what I meant by the efficiency of study space. So I know it's a vague statement, so specifically, what do I mean? It means taking the spaces that we have and using them efficiently. Within that comes the effective use of furniture. And the furniture we have isn't always the most conducive to studying. So if you look at the concourse, you have the small individual seats with a small side table, like you'll see in classrooms, and then you have the big study tables. I mean, additionally, you have the seats by the window there, but the majority of the seats are either the individual seat or the big tables. So what you often see is individuals studying at those big tables, because the seats with the side table, that side table is impractical and really can't be used for much other than an armrest. That was an issue that was brought up on campus to me numerous times, and the impracticality of those seats is definitely an issue. Again, when you see one person using a huge table, it's frustrating, and it's even more frustrating because they really have no other option. So you look at the science building, you have tables in the atrium there that are medium sized, good for 1 or 2 people. So it's practical solutions like that that really make it easier to have people using the seats. In the science atrium, Chandler, as you said, looking over there, there's a lot of floor and not too many tables. So making sure that we're actually using the space we have is important. And it's not an issue of buying furniture. I actually think we do have it. It's a matter of putting it where it's most needed. And certain areas aren't marketed as well as others, but those popular areas are popular, and you need to have the seating there for the students. It's not necessarily a matter of number of seats, but also the usage of those seats and the efficiency. If there's seats there that aren't being used, then they might as well not be there. There's 4 seats at a table and only one's being used, same thing as there only being 1 seat there. So that's what I meant by the efficiency of study space, making sure that it is conducive to studying, that the seats are quality study spaces, not just seats. The next issue brought up, which is excellent, is the dining hall. In my platform, I mentioned wanting to learn about the availability of study space there and that issue, so I'll be the first to admit it, I did not know. I did not do the research that was necessary, and I didn't find out that space is actually open from 9:30 onwards at night. So my fault. Thank you for pointing that out. It's important that I admit if I make a mistake, and that's my bad. So dining hall is available for study space after 9:30. That brings up another issue though. Why don't we know? I mean, I've been talking about this issue with students on campus for the last couple of weeks, and it's never been mentioned that you can use it. I've never been corrected until now. So that's definitely a problem. I mean, you didn't know about the science atrium renovations. I don't know about this. We don't know what's going on our own campus. And when I mention communication barriers, and if I ever get, what barriers are you talking about? This is the kind of stuff I mean that we're unaware of. Really massive changes to our campus, massive policy changes as well in terms of hours there in the dining hall, renovations in the science atrium. So it's important that we know these things are happening, and it shouldn't be hard to communicate this to the students. So that brings up another issue. Adaptability as well. If you look at our platforms, they're incredibly important and kind of define who we are as candidates, but they are essentially pieces of paper with ideas on them, and those ideas are going to have to change and be able to adapt. Things are going to change, new ideas are going to come, better ideas, priorities are going to change. If you have something like the Wilf's flood, for example, that really changes the game entirely, and we need to rely on this, but also be lean, adaptable, taking in other people's ideas and making the changes that we see fit at the time. So I want to make certain that I'm not relying too much on this stuff and that I'm constantly learning new things. I've learned a lot since I wrote this platform, and I'm going to try to keep it updated with the best and most practical ideas that are available that I hear. So again, Chandler, thank you for pointing that out. It's a great point. Next, incremental change and what I mean by that. So really it's incremental versus radical, small change versus big change. So for me, I think it's important that we really focus on making incremental changes now, so we avoid being in a situation where we have a whole lot of changes to make and we can't make them because it's, one, impossible with manpower, time, resources, and biggest of all, monies, right? So making the small changes to study spaces, making the small renovations we need, as we need them, not waiting until it's way too late and we have serious problems on our hands. I mean, our facilities are staying essentially the same, where our student population is growing at a rapid pace. So we have to keep pace with the student population growth, and to do that we have to make these incremental changes. Again, like you mentioned in the video with the library, it's not about saying, okay, big renovation, increasing capacity by, double, doing this and that. It's about getting the money to find the assessment, to get the estimate, the architectural estimate, and finding out exactly how much it's going to cost, if it's feasible, where the money's going to come from, and taking those necessary steps. I mean, ideas are great, but there has to be a process in place, and I think, that's a really important thing to look at when looking at these platforms. So that's what I meant there. I more meant it as a general principle. So in thinking of things moving forward, we have to be thinking about making these incremental changes and not only focusing on these kind of big picture ends without the process. So there has to be some means of getting there. With the outdoor setting, seating for me outside is a big deal. I love the outside. I love being outside when it's possible. Even when it's a little cold, I don't mind. And I really fell in love with this idea. I heard about it a lot on campus, but again, you're correct in saying that it's probably not high on the priority list of many. I mean, the other issues on my platform are definitely more important, and that's fair. So, I mean, it's kind of a one-time fixed cost with things like picnic tables, but again, to be fair, probably not the most necessary thing, because as you mentioned, summer, it's largely empty on campus and it's not really an issue, and it will get used for about a month during the year, depending on the weather, but fair enough. This has to be a platform issue in regards to study space. There's no way that it can't be. It can't not be on the platform. If you go around school and talk to 10 students, 9 of them are going to mention study space, usually as their #1 issue. So the fact that all candidates don't have this on their platform is a real problem for me, because this issue may be uninteresting, it may be a really tired issue that's been around for a long time, but it doesn't mean we can disregard it. I mean, we can't shy away from problems that haven't seemed to be solved yet. That's really not how it works. So if students are bringing this up and there's a problem for students, it needs to be a problem for us as well as candidates, and it needs to be reflected in the platform. We can't personally decide, okay, that's a good issue, that's not, this is exciting, this is boring, we want to solve that, but we don't want to solve that. We really have to take in everything and develop our priorities that way. So again, I've talked to hundreds of students over the last couple of weeks, and this is always something that comes up. Solutions are difficult, I know, but again, it doesn't mean that we can shy away from it and ignore it. If students are talking about it, we have to be talking about it as well. We have to be advocating accurately on behalf of students. The last issue here is continuity, and you brought this up, Chandler, in regards to the science atrium and having the platform that I just want to see that through and make sure that's completed. That's big for me, and like I have here, a good idea is a good idea. It doesn't matter who comes up with it. It's not about ego, and that's the platform as well. We got to remove all that personal stuff that comes along with these ideas and just focus on the ideas themselves. So there's a good idea in place. I want to see it through. If an idea is struggling, I want to analyze and see whether it's possible to pursue, or whether we should, either get rid of it or change it, whatever it might be. But if something good is being done on campus, it needs to be seen through. Half-done projects don't help anyone. Doesn't help the students. Certainly doesn't help the staff. A waste of time and a waste of money. So in order to avoid the waste of all those resources, we need to make sure that there is a good idea in place. If there's a renovation that's going to help students, we need to take these good ideas and make sure these projects are done in a timely and cost-efficient manner. So that's it for that. I really encourage everyone to look at the platforms and kind of see where we're all coming from in regards to the issues. We do talk a lot about the same things, but we do definitely approach the issues in a different way. So please have a look. Feel free to get in touch with me if you have any questions at all, whether it's via Facebook, Twitter, in person. I'm always on campus and always open to questions, ideas, criticisms, whatever you have to say. I'd absolutely love to hear it. Thank you for watching.